It's hard to find anyone in the bodybuilding world, or even among fitness enthusiasts, who hasn't been influenced by the absolutely aesthetic and classic physique of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's no coincidence. After all, he's the biggest icon in bodybuilding history. Not only did he win 7 Mr. Olympia titles, but he also became the sport's biggest global ambassador. Whether through the legendary documentary Pumping Iron or his action movies that defined generations, Arnold inspired millions. If I had to guess, I'd say that many people around the world decided to start lifting weights after seeing him shine on screen. Even those who aren't deeply familiar with the world of bodybuilding, when they hear the name Arnold Schwarzenegger, they immediately think of muscles. And the craziest part? The guy didn't stop there. Besides dominating bodybuilding, he made history in Hollywood and even in politics. Now, the question everyone wants to know: how did this legend build such an iconic physique that transcends generations? That's exactly what we're going to dive into today. So, if you're into this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. But before we continue, I need your help to keep the channel going and continue bringing content like this. If you enjoy what I do, becoming a member won't hurt your wallet, but it makes a huge difference in helping me keep producing quality videos for you. And if you're new here and want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, drop that like, and turn on notifications. This way, YouTube knows this content deserves to reach more people, and you'll stay up to date with everything. Oh, and I'm aiming to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I'm counting on you. Let's do this.
Not every legend is a myth. Some are flesh and blood. Some legends walk among us, but they aren't born, they're built. Legends are made from iron and sweat, mind and muscle, blood and vision, and victory. Legends are champions. They grow. They win. They conquer.
The legendary physique of the Austrian oak, as Arnold Schwarzenegger came to be known, started being shaped long before he stepped onto bodybuilding stages. From his teenage years, he already showcased a genetic advantage that left everyone in awe. In photos from that time, it's easy to see his broad shoulders, slim waist, and a body structure that already hinted at the unforgettable physique he would one day have. No one could have imagined that this young Austrian, still in his youth, would become the owner of one of the most revered physiques in history. With every muscle looking like it was hand-sculpted, Arnold was a true living masterpiece. At just 18 years old, he was already winning major titles like Junior Mr. Europe. A year later, he added to his victories by claiming the Mr. Europe title. These achievements were just the beginning of a glorious career. Following that, Arnold won the amateur version of Mr. Universe, solidifying his name among the top athletes of the time. But it was in the professional Mr. Universe that a real turning point occurred. One of the competition's judges, fascinated by the raw talent he displayed, made an offer that would change the course of his career forever: to train him under his guidance in London. This decision not only allowed Arnold to evolve physically at an exponential rate, but also opened doors he could have never imagined. Moving to the UK was crucial for his development. Besides refining his bodybuilding skills, living in London gave him something even more valuable: the chance to improve his English, a skill that would prove essential in the future stages of his life. This period of training and adaptation in the UK shaped more than just Arnold's body. It molded his personality and global ambitions. It was this solid foundation that enabled him to not only conquer the world of bodybuilding, but also to triumph in Hollywood and later, in politics. Imagine the impact of a young Austrian who barely spoke English upon arrival, dominating the stages, the movie screens, and the political arenas of a country like the United States. Arnold's talent and discipline were key, but the opportunities he seized throughout his career made all the difference. That young man, who once started lifting weights in the small town of Thal, Austria, was only beginning his journey towards immortality in the world of sports and beyond.
You got to shock the muscle, and shock the muscle with different kind of training principles. Expose your weak points. You're gonna go and hit those marks, and then you move the bar higher, and you feel that with hard work, you can achieve the goals and you can become successful.
After giving a brief overview of how it all began, let's get straight to the point. What made Arnold Schwarzenegger become the monster he is? First and foremost, the answer lies in one word: passion. Arnold loved what he did, and he poured all of his time, energy, and focus into bodybuilding. For many, it might seem like his life was a dream. After all, who wouldn't want to train, eat, sleep, and still make money from it? Living in the perfect setting of Los Angeles and Venice Beach, it was easy to imagine everything just flowed effortlessly, like he was living in a movie. But the reality was quite different. At the elite level, there's no such thing as just going to the gym, lifting some weights, and then relaxing. Arnold's routine was brutal. He spent endless hours in the gym, every single day. And don't think he was there to chat with friends or take selfies to prove he showed up. No. Arnold entered the gym with one goal: to be the best. He gave his heart and soul to it, training with an absurd level of intensity. The pressure was constant, and the effort insane. Every set was a battle, every rep a step closer to excellence. There was no time for distractions, and training was taken as seriously as a competition. What many don't see is that Arnold's lifestyle wasn't glamorous behind the scenes. While everyone saw the shining lights of the competitions, he was grinding hard, day after day, hour after hour, with relentless discipline. The combination of passion, hard work, and dedication is what made Arnold the legendary bodybuilder we know today. It wasn't just a matter of wanting to be the best. He truly did whatever it took to stay on top. Arnold understood that the path to success was tough and required sacrifices, and he was willing to pay that price.
I think the important thing is that you always go all out in every set, and that you really, don't save yourself for the next set, because that's another big mistake that a lot of people make. They say, okay, I'm going to do 20 sets, so I better take it easy in the third and fourth set, and then the fifth set, and then the 10th set, because I still have 10 sets to go. But that's the wrong approach. Each set ought to be going all out.
In 1974, Arnold Schwarzenegger stepped on stage at an impressive 114 kilograms, about 251 pounds, a weight that set a record at the time and silenced all the critics who said his legs were his weak point. That year, his legs were monstrous, with a level of definition that few could achieve. Of course, we're talking about 1974, and a lot has changed in bodybuilding since then. But for that era, Arnold's physique was ahead of its time. Additionally, he had something that set him apart: a meticulously planned training routine. Arnold split his training into two muscle groups. The first included chest, back, legs, and forearms, while the second focused on arms, shoulders, abs, and calves. He alternated these groups, completing 6 training sessions a week, meaning 3 intense workouts per muscle group. But it didn't stop there. Arnold also divided his workouts into 2 sessions a day. On chest and back days, he trained in the morning, leaving legs and forearms for the afternoon. The same applied when training the second group: shoulders and arms in the morning, abs and calves in the evening. This meant he spent about 5 hours in the gym nearly every day of the week. The routine was so intense that few could keep up. And when it came to training volume, Arnold didn't hold back. The number of weekly sets he performed was simply insane. To build that legendary chest, which looked almost like it had silicone due to its size, he did an astounding 72 sets per week just for his chest. Arnold didn't limit himself to classic exercises like the flat bench press. He was a fan of variation, mixing barbell and dumbbell presses on the incline bench, targeting different angles to sculpt every detail of his chest. One of his iconic exercises was the dumbbell fly on the flat bench, which helped give his chest that impressive width. This level of dedication, combined with his natural talent and blessed genetics, were the ingredients that led him to become one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. Arnold not only dominated with a colossal physique, but also with a strategic mindset, always thinking about how to improve and push the limits of his own body.
I think that the 3 exercises for chest that I have always done, the first year when I started training and the last year when I was training, is bench press, incline press in different levels. So to start low, medium, and high, and then flies. I mean, to me, the flies was an exercise that gave me the full pectoral muscle development because I went all the way out and almost hitting the ground. And I was a big believer in expanding the chest as much as possible and giving that stretch, because remember, with muscles, the important thing always is to get the stretch and to get the flex. And so to me, that's going all the way out with the dumbbells as far as you can to get that stretch, and then to come in and then to have the dumbbells touch and then flex like you're doing the most muscle on top, and then going out again. Those are the kind of exercises to me that were like, you could not replace them with any machine. This was it. One of the main things, of course, in order to create size and to create muscle growth.
When it came to his back, Arnold Schwarzenegger kept things simple but extremely effective. He knew he didn't need to reinvent the wheel to build one of the most imposing backs in bodybuilding history. Arnold performed an impressive 63 sets per week, focused solely on this muscle group. That's right, 63 weekly sets, showcasing the level of dedication and intensity he applied to his training. And it wasn't with complex exercises or exotic movements that he built his physique. Arnold focused on rows and pull-downs, the classic and most efficient exercises for back development. These movements are known for recruiting a massive amount of muscle fibers and promoting growth in critical areas like the traps, lats, and rhomboids, ensuring a wide and dense structure. Rows, such as the famous bent-over row, were a cornerstone in his routine, and Arnold executed them with brutal precision. He knew that to create that impressive width that dominated the stage, the key was consistency and proper technique. As for pull-downs, whether on the pull-up bar or using the pulling machine, they helped define the thickness and shape of the upper back, complementing his sculpted physique. Unlike many bodybuilders who sometimes venture into different exercises, Arnold believed that with the right movements, repeated with proper intensity and volume, the results would speak for themselves. He didn't waste time with trends because he knew what truly worked. This focus on the basics, combined with his relentless work ethic, is what allowed Arnold to build one of the most impressive and symmetrical physiques of his era. His ability to balance training intensity with perfect execution made all the difference. When you think of wide, defined backs, it's impossible not to think of Arnold, who showed the world that simplicity, when done with mastery, can be extraordinary.
Já para as costas, Arnold fazia 63 séries por semana. E sem inventar muita moda, ele mandava ver em remadas e puxadas, que são os melhores exercícios para os músculos das costas.
According to various reliable sources, when it came to arms, Arnold Schwarzenegger took intensity to an impressive level. To sculpt those insane arms that became his trademark, he did around 55 or more sets per week, focusing solely on biceps and triceps. This shows just how dedicated he was to achieving extreme muscle hypertrophy. Arnold's approach was simple. He knew that to have arms that caught everyone's attention, the training volume had to be high and, more importantly, efficient. Every set was performed with total focus, without wasting energy. Arnold understood that the secret wasn't just about doing as many reps as possible, but ensuring that every rep was hitting the target. In his bicep workouts, he incorporated a variety of exercises, from the classic barbell curl to more focused movements like concentration curls. This helped ensure that all areas of the muscle were worked, giving Arnold that famous bicep peak that seemed to explode with every pose. For triceps, which make up the bulk of the arm's mass, he focused on exercises like dips and tricep extensions, always aiming to work the muscle deeply and with control. Arnold believed that arms weren't just about size, but symmetry and detail. He trained with heavy weights but never sacrificed perfect form. Additionally, he always sought a strong mind-muscle connection, feeling each contraction and stretch, which, according to him, made all the difference. The result of this effort? Arms that measured an incredible 56 centimeters, 22 inches, something extraordinary for the time. This level of detail and dedication made his arms revered to this day as some of the best ever seen in bodybuilding. With 55 weekly sets, Arnold proved that the key to legendary arms lies in the combination of volume, variety, and flawless execution.
Curls, barbell curls. Many times we would start out with a weight, with a heavy weight, and do just one rep. Then have them pull off plates and a curl, but just enough that they can now do 2 reps. Then pull off plates and do 3 reps. Then pull off more plates and do 4 reps after that. Absolutely essential to do the barbell curl, to create the thickness of the bicep, to do the dumbbell curl on an inclined bench, and to do the concentration curl. The tricep was narrow bench press, a lot of narrow bench press in the early days, then triceps extensions down, and then overhead tricep extension with one arm and with both arms, and then also tricep extension onto a bar where you let the body, the head go onto a bar and press out in order to use your own body weight.
And when it comes to shoulders, there's no better way to approach the topic than to let Arnold Schwarzenegger himself speak on it. He always emphasized the importance of having wide and powerful shoulders to create that famous V shape, so coveted in bodybuilding. According to Arnold, the shoulders are the muscle group that brings balance and proportion to the body. He believed that well-developed shoulders not only made the physique look larger, but also helped create the illusion of an even slimmer waist, one of the secrets to his iconic shape. Arnold always stressed that building strong and defined shoulders required meticulous and tireless work. He mentioned on several occasions that his shoulder workouts were grueling, and that he liked to work each part of the deltoid muscle in isolation. To do this, he focused on 3 types of raises: front, lateral, and rear, ensuring that no part of the shoulder was neglected. Additionally, he relied on movements like the barbell and dumbbell shoulder press, which formed the foundation for strength and size development. His shoulders were so impressive that many said they looked like natural armor. Arnold knew that to maintain this level of excellence, he needed a high volume of work and consistency. According to him, the secret was not to hold back on sets and reps, doing up to 50 sets a week just for his shoulders. But he was also meticulous in maintaining perfect form on every rep, ensuring that each movement was always under control. It wasn't just about lifting heavy weights, but making every rep count. The result? Shoulders that looked hand-sculpted, standing out in every pose and making his silhouette unmistakable.
Shoulders, dumbbell presses, barbell presses, in the front and in the back. I mean, we always did the rear press behind the neck kind of presses, the military presses, the dumbbell press, which is now called the Arnold press, and then lateral raises, and especially bent over lateral raises on a bench. That is a 45-degree bench.
When it came to legs, Arnold Schwarzenegger left nothing to chance. He performed an impressive 63 sets per week, and the foundation of his leg training was dominated by various squat variations. Arnold understood that the squat was one of the most complete and effective exercises for leg development, which is why he considered it essential in his routine. He made sure to incorporate different types of squats to ensure that all the leg muscles were worked evenly. The classic barbell back squat was the cornerstone of his training, but he also used variations like the front squat, which placed more emphasis on the quadriceps, and the deep squat, which helped increase the range of motion and better target the glutes and hamstrings. Arnold knew that to have powerful and well-proportioned legs, he needed to go beyond the basics. That's why he also included other complementary movements, like the leg press and leg extensions, ensuring that every part of his thighs was sculpted with precision. Even though his quadriceps were the highlight, he didn't neglect the hamstrings, dedicating attention to exercises like leg curls and stiff-legged deadlifts. This balance was the secret to having legs that not only impressed with size, but also with definition and symmetry. With 63 weekly sets, the training volume Arnold applied to his legs was simply insane, and few people could keep up with his intensity. The result of all this effort? Strong, defined, and proportional legs that perfectly complemented the imposing physique he brought to the stage. Although his legs were initially a point of criticism, over time, Arnold proved that he had what it took to turn them into one of his greatest assets.
Squats is, I think, the most important exercise to create thighs, big thighs. Squats, rear squats, front squats, leg extensions, lunges, deadlifts, or good morning exercise. Sometimes in order to shock the body and the muscle, we would switch from squats to leg press.
We can't forget about the calves, a muscle group that Arnold Schwarzenegger treated with the same seriousness as the rest of his body. He didn't limit himself to just classic calf raises, but also included a variation that became iconic in his journey, the donkey calf raise. This exercise involves standing on your tiptoes while leaning forward, with extra weight on your back to intensify the load. And Arnold, always looking for ways to push himself, took this practice to the extreme. There's even an iconic photo of him doing this exercise while carrying two of his training partners on his back, a display of strength and dedication that still inspires today. Arnold knew that, like any other muscle group, the calves required a considerable amount of training volume to grow. He applied a high number of sets, forcing his calves to respond to the constant stimulus. This helped overload the muscle, preparing it to handle the stress of heavier and more intense sets to come. Just as he did with other muscle groups, Arnold believed in the principle of progressive overload, constantly increasing the load and training volume to stimulate growth. The high training volume he applied to his calves, combined with exercise variation, allowed Arnold to build strong and defined calves, something notoriously difficult for many bodybuilders. He knew it wasn't enough to train them occasionally or lightly. It required the same level of intensity and commitment he applied to his chest, back, or leg workouts. This dedication is what made Arnold a complete bodybuilder, with impeccable proportions in every detail of his physique.
There will be regular ab training that we did for abs, which is just leg raises with straight legs, leg raises with bent knees, sit-ups, Roman chair sit-ups, which gives you the 500 reps, which was an absolute necessity and we all believed in, and then crunches.
It's said that Arnold Schwarzenegger followed this intense training regimen primarily during competition prep, aiming to burn more calories while fine-tuning his muscle volume. During the off-season, when the focus was on gaining mass, the training volume could be slightly adjusted. But we can't commit the heresy of forgetting one of the most fundamental factors for success in bodybuilding: nutrition. Everyone has a general idea of how bodybuilders' diets were in the 70s, and while they tried to follow clean eating habits, the knowledge about nutrition back then was far from what we have today. Some unusual ideas were floating around, like mixing protein shakes with strong alcohol to loosen up. The result? The guy would become massive and, on top of that, more relaxed. It was a time when the bodybuilding vibe was very different. Everything seemed lighter, more fun. There was a unique aura around the sport, an energy that made bodybuilding much more than just a job. It was a true lifestyle. Back then, Arnold's diet was simple but effective. He didn't have the sophisticated nutritional strategies we see today, but he knew exactly what he needed to maximize his results. Good food choices and constant attention to protein intake were the pillars of his diet. Protein, of course, was the base. Meat, eggs, fish, and protein shakes were part of his daily menu. He knew that to build and maintain that colossal physique, protein intake was essential. Carbohydrates were also an important part of Arnold's diet, providing the energy needed to sustain the intense training sessions he faced day after day. Everything was balanced to ensure he had the strength and endurance needed for both training and competition. Even with the nutritional limitations of the time, Arnold knew how to optimize what was available and adapt it to his needs, always keeping his eyes on the ultimate goal, an enviable physique worthy of his legacy in the sport. Arnold Schwarzenegger followed a simple and effective formula when it came to protein: 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. This meant that when he weighed around 110 kilograms, about 242 pounds, his daily protein intake reached an impressive 240 grams. For Arnold, the ideal was to divide this into 5 meals throughout the day, as he was never one to eat large quantities all at once. He needed to balance his calories to ensure maximum performance in training and muscle recovery. And speaking of calories, during bulking periods, when the goal was to gain muscle mass, Arnold consumed over 5,000 calories a day, an extreme amount but necessary to maintain his size and volume. For breakfast, Arnold started the day with a robust combination of eggs, beef, and some sides like toast, always finishing with 2 glasses of milk, about 470 milliliters. Throughout the day, his meals included various combinations of meat, mostly beef sandwiches, along with eggs and cheese, which provided a good dose of protein and healthy fats. Protein shakes were also part of his daily routine, providing a quick and efficient way to boost protein intake. Interestingly, Arnold drank 1 or 2 glasses of milk, around 240 to 470 milliliters, with almost every meal. Today, with so many people lactose intolerant or opting for plant-based alternatives, this might seem like an unusual choice, but it clearly worked for him. Back then, the concept of a calorie deficit diet, so common today, wasn't widely adopted. The focus was on consuming large amounts of food to ensure muscle growth, especially during the bulking phase. Arnold knew he needed a constant fuel supply to maintain his colossal physique and the energy required for intense workouts. Even without the advanced nutritional knowledge we have today, Arnold did what worked for him, and the results speak for themselves. The combination of well-distributed meals, high-calorie and protein intake, and an exhausting training routine transformed his body into a true muscle machine, something many still try to replicate today. Arnold admitted that during competition prep, he simply adjusted his diet, eating a bit less. But the real secret to burning more calories was increasing his training volume. As we've discussed, Arnold believed that if he could do 20 reps of an exercise, he might as well do 30 or even 35, as long as he was using a lighter weight. And that's exactly what he did during his cuts. Now, I know some people are itching to know about the gear, the infamous holy grail of bodybuilders. Back then, the protocols for substance use were much simpler and, in a way, less aggressive than what we see today. This is reflected in the relatively low number of visible side effects among the athletes of Arnold's era. Issues like gynecomastia were rare, acne wasn't as common, and many athletes still had a good amount of hair. Unlike the situation today, where many athletes are balding in their 20s, Arnold himself revealed that the most commonly used drug in his time was testosterone. According to him, his weekly dose was around 100 milligrams, something that today would be considered close to a hormone replacement therapy level. Additionally, he took Dianabol, with a dosage of 3 pills per day, which also seems moderate compared to today's standards. When thinking about side effects, the doses Arnold admitted to using seem almost ridiculously low by today's standards. The amount of testosterone he supposedly took, around 100 milligrams per week, would be considered minimal even for people just trying to maintain normal hormone levels. This raises the question, was Arnold's body really that responsive to such small doses of steroids? Or was he possibly leaving out some details, not sharing the full story of what was really going on? It's a mystery, but regardless of that, there's no doubt that his physique was the result of a combination of superior genetics, relentless discipline, and years of hard work. All the details we've discussed so far form the foundation of Arnold Schwarzenegger's legendary physique. For many, Arnold has become the symbol of how bodybuilding has evolved over the years. For others, he represents what the sport ideally should be, a balance of aesthetics, strength, and dedication. And you, what do you think about Arnold Schwarzenegger? Would you want his physique, with its perfect blend of proportion and symmetry, or do you prefer the colossal size of the giant bodybuilders we see today? Is Arnold being completely honest about the amount of steroids he took during his career? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinion. And of course, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to share it with a friend who's also a fan of bodybuilding. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Arnold's legacy in bodybuilding? Did today's bodybuilders follow the same path to success? Drop your opinion in the comments. I'm excited to know what you think. And if you can, share this video with friends who also need to see this content. Don't leave without hitting the like button, because it really helps with visibility and motivates me to keep bringing you videos like this. Oh, and remember to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. I'm aiming to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm counting on your help to make that happen. Let's go. 5,000, here we come.